Hi, she's Trixie and I'm Sarah, and this is our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of arts and crafts, generally yarn arts and crafts, and the joy it brings us and the joy we hope that you share in it if you have it as well as something that you do. We're coming today on episode 39, and it is getting colder where we are at. It has snowed, and by the way, we live in Michigan. I don't know, I feel like I've said that before, but it's starting to snow. It's starting to get much more colder, much more wet outside, and so we finally pulled out some hot cocoa today, and it's been much needed. I have obnoxiously large marshmallows in mine with a candy cane, just because, you know, why not? And
2 packs of hot cocoa. She's going to be like revving it up today.
Listen. Sadly, despite my need to get my my projects done, this week has been almost impossible in allowing me to get these projects done. This is actually going to be the first day that I'm actually going to be able to actually possibly get stuff done on my projects since I saw you guys last. So you might be seeing me crochet during this video. Kids have been sick, and as you see, our filming location is different. There's just been a lot going on behind the scenes, and probably updates on that later, but right now it's just not that much to know, but we are excited as today is the day that we will be asking the question, what is your favorite flower?
Yes.
We'll be talking more about this after the video, but we are excited as today is the day we are going to be launching our giveaway.
Yes.
Our name will be chosen next week. Again, we will further disclose details by the end of the video.
Yeah.
But it's just exciting. We're just really excited about this giveaway, and we'll go into it a little bit later. I know that you are excited because you are just insane.
I have finished this blue blanket, which, let me see if we can get it where it started. Started out with the blues and the grays, and the gray was the solid and the blues were the variegated. So, and we went all the way through and had different variegateds with browns and some purples and teals and greens and yeah, all the way down to the bottom here. And I've already got someone in mind for this. It's a friend of mine. She loves the beach, and this just so much reminds me of a beach scene that I think I'm going to give it to her for Christmas. So yeah, it's a good time to have things prepared for other people, and so it's exciting for me to have this one done for her. And let me just say that this same person offered me a box of yarn, and when I got over there, it was 3 huge boxes. I'm talking a vacuum box, a vacuum full, and another great big box. I don't even know, I think that was a paper towel box from like a Sam's Club or something. Great big box, and another great big box just full of yarn. And I was so grateful. I went through it, and it was just like, yes. So I have a bunch of balls of yarn that are already wound up, and then I had a bunch of skeins. Skeins I put on the shelf, balls I put in drawers in my craft room, and so I started pulling out some of the balls of yarn, and I'm doing a scrappy blanket. So, and this is how far I've gotten so far. Isn't it pretty? It's a fully scrappy blanket and Afghan, and I'm loving it because I get to change the colors so often, and you know, you tie yarn together and keep winding it up, and so you don't know some of the yarn is going to come next. It's almost like a everlasting gobstopper, just having the different colors in there. And so that's where I'm at with that one. And I have lots more yarn to use. She told me that she knew that I was going through it so fast because of these videos that she wanted to contribute, and I thought that was very kind. And so this, the blanket, the blues blanket, is going to the same person who gave me the yarn.
Yep. Just as a reminder, just because we do have a lot of new subscribers,
Yeah.
what do you do in making these blankets? Because this is a very standard blanket for my mom to make. It's not something that's just written
It's
down.
kind of my signature blanket. Sarah has pointed this out to me. So I use a 10mm hook, which is a N15, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not.
We do it.
And
I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to focus.
yeah, but it is a N15, a 10mm.
Okay.
I
think I got it. There we go.
I
Sorry
use
about that, everyone.
I chain 101 and come back, and it's 100 stitches across, and I use a half double crochet stitch. So, and I just make it as tall as I am. It's 100 across and as tall as I am.
And you do half double crochets, and
Yes.
she does, she crows with 2 at a
Oh,
time,
yes.
worsted weight yarns, so 4-ply yarns at a time.
Two yarns, and just makes it go so quickly because you're doubling up on everything, and that's why I need such a big hook.
Yep. And I'm sorry, do you need to check on that?
Yeah, I'm hearing the UPS guy, so I'm gonna let Sarah talk while you're
Okay.
doing that.
Yep. Sadly, the timing of everything just happens to always happen when everything is happening, apparently. But yes, so like I said before, I haven't gotten a lot done this week. I really have had nothing done this week. But for any of you that would like to see my progress thus far that has not, that might be new, I am working on projects for my nephews for Christmas. As to whether I will fully get them done by Christmas is to be determined. Like I said, there's just a lot going on right now in my life, and so I'm doing my very best. And but to be fair, I don't think I'm doing that bad of a job when it comes to this little guy. So this is supposed to be Link from a video game called The Legend of Zelda. He is the main warrior and the main person that is that you play. So if you were to play it, you would be playing this character, and he is a very beloved character of one of and very beloved just person that my nephew really likes to follow because he loves the games. And so I am making him for Christmas for him. And really the only thing I have left to do is make the sheath and then make the gear. So I have to actually make the sword and the shield. And I have all the materials right here in this bag, but I have to actually still finish the sheath that would allow the sword to be carried on him in person. And so I'm probably going to be working on that for the remainder of the video. But yeah, this Aragurumi pattern has been absolutely fun to make. Even just being able to add that little eyebrow that I had to add. I don't know if you can see it in the mouth. I made him look smug. You know, his little fringe, like the making the wig was just absolutely fun, and I thought it was going to be a lot more obnoxious than it was. But this creator that made this pattern was very thorough in its explanations and just letting you know. I am a true believer that no matter where you're at with any sort of a project, especially with yarn, that it's not necessarily that if it's labeled as a hard or advanced pattern that you can't do it. It's just more of the time that you're willing to take, because it could take you longer just based off of your experience level. It does not mean that you're not capable of doing it. It just means that it might take longer if you don't have as much experience. So
it would take me forever. I prefer blankets.
But for someone, like, if I had had a normal week, everything would be done with this thing.
Yeah,
it's just,
true.
you know, and I'm not saying that to be smug. I'm just
No,
saying
she's
that
very
to be
quick about things.
these sort of crafts do not take me that long.
Right.
They just don't, because it's very commonplace for me to make things that are much more three-dimensional than two-dimensional.
Yes.
Does not make anyone greater or smaller. I don't have the attention span to make a blanket. I don't. And I'm not saying that I would never or that I can't, because that's just the truth. I can if I want to.
Right.
It's that it's not my comfort project. I like things that are a little bit more complex, a little bit more with a challenge, just because I have been doing this actually longer than she has.
Oh, yeah. She taught me how to crochet, believe it or not.
Yeah, so I don't know if we've ever told this story. Pretty much, pardon me, pretty much I was a crafty kid growing up. That was my outlet. I had, it just was the thing that I did. I just always crafted. And when I was old enough to understand that I could craft with yarn in a much more productive way than just wrapping yarn around things or making, I used to make yarn people, which were, I would just wrap yarn until it was something that I could then tie in certain areas to make it look a certain way, and I would make them for my friends and bring them to school. But then all of a sudden, my grandmother, who was my mom, the mother of my father, was a crocheter, and she offered to teach me.
Well, let me interject one little fact that you haven't put in here yet. Sarah was homeschooled, and her grandmother taught her a skill, a life skill that year. And then Sarah ended up teaching me so that she could tell me how she learned it.
Okay, so yes, so I was taught how to crochet. I remember just being in the car with a ball of yarn and with a hook and just chaining.
Yeah.
Like endless amount of chaining. And because that was the first step, learning how to make a slip knot and then chaining and making sure that my tension was good.
Yeah.
And then we got a kid's book pattern, and we just sat down and we did different projects together. We made cat toys for my grandmother's cat. We made just different things I could, just different kid crafts. And then once I got the fundamentals, it just clicked. It just clicked. For the longest time, I didn't know how to actually know how to adapt a pattern, like read a pattern and actually be able to make it, because it was more of like this is how I can use to build things for myself. I didn't feel that I needed help crafting and doing things, when it was more of like it's the difference between someone who knows that has clay and wants to learn how to make a pot compared to just being like, well, here's clay, let me just make a pot. I don't need to be taught how to make it. If I have the materials, I'm capable of doing it.
Right.
Compared to someone who's just more of like, I would prefer to make sure that I do it right the first time.
Through a pattern.
That I have the material to just get it done in one go try. And that's just how I was. I just was like, well, I have the material, let me just figure it out. And that way I can do what I want to do with it. And so I would make my doll baby clothes. I would make things three-dimensionally. I would...
See, and that now that you're reminding me of that, you started out making three-dimensionals. That's why you can do it so well now.
Yep, I would make clothes for myself. I made a tank top. I used to make fingerless mittens all the time. I used to make just wearables that I could wear for myself. Not big, but I could do it. And like I said, like fingerless mittens. And I would, one of the best days for me personally was when I could get a Cairn 1-pound yarn.
Yes.
And I was just allowed to come home and make something. I wasn't guaranteed as to what I was going to make. It was just that I had the freedom to be able to make it.
Yeah.
I had enough material to just sit down, and when I was in front of the TV, I didn't know what I was making. I was just going to start and just let it take me where I was going to go. And that was my outlet for a very long time. And I would make bears randomly. I would just find myself being like, oh, this looks like a circle. Now it's looking like a ball. Maybe I should narrow it out so I have a neck. Oh, I can make a body. Oh, now I've made a bear. Like, I would just... I never knew where it was going to take me. I'd make bags all the time, too.
Right. She could look... And we'd be in the line at Joann's, and there's that wall when you're going through the line, and it was projects that people had
made classes.
At class, and she'd say, "Oh, okay, I can do that," and she would do that when she got home. No pattern, and she just knew what she was doing, and it was just like, "How are you?" My mother-in-law would ask her, "How do you do that?" My grandmother would say, "How do you do that?" And because both of them had to have patterns for everything that they ever did. And so on my grandmother's deathbed, she was just like, "Sarah, I'm giving you all my yarn, all my hooks, all my needles, and the only thing that I ask of you is that you learn how to read a pattern, because I'm going to give you the patterns too." And so we ended up learning how to read them, but it was just, that was her dying wish, that that she was so impressed with what Sarah could do, but she also thought it would further her in knowing how to read a pattern, as well as knowing how to do things on her own. Mm-hmm. And she's just been amazing with it.
Well, I would like to say that I learned a lot of my ability to learn complex stitches from a show called Create. It was a Wednesday show. I do believe it was a Wednesday show.
Yeah.
Because I feel Wednesday used to be our very busy day as a homeschooled kid, because I would go to an exterior class for homeschooled kids that wanted to do fine arts. So there was a program in Michigan that we'd have to travel for every single week to be able to allow me to be able to play in a band with other homeschooled kids. And it was just one spot that everyone was able to go for exterior fine arts classes, that everyone just knew each other, and it wasn't necessarily from a school.
And it was an hour away.
Yeah, it happened to be an hour away for where we were. But we'd come home, and I would ask my mom to ready the TV. I'd grab my crochet hook or my knitting needles, because I did know how to knit at that point, and I would grab a ball of yarn, and I'd just sit patiently until Create would come on, because there was this channel, and I cannot tell you what the channel was off the top of my hand, but every single week they'd show a new pattern and then how to pretty much make it. So it was pretty much like this is a cardigan, or this is a purse, or this is a really cool blanket, or this is a really cool wearable, or that wasn't a cardigan, or like I'm not saying that they made these, but like there would be a specific pattern that was made by somebody that would be able to come and host that pattern.
Yeah.
And they would pretty much, they offered you the pattern to be able to purchase it via the telephone at the time. That's how they did it. Or they would just give you a link to be able to type out into any sort of internet engine to be able to look it up. But the person got to host their pattern on there and kind of show you how they made this pattern and why they made it, and why they think that this would be good to people that have the same desires to make similar things, and how they would be able to apply it. And that gave me such an outlet. At the end of the show, it was only a half-hour show.
Yeah.
By the end of it, they had what was called like the stitching corner, or it was the Afghan. It was a Afghan along, a granny square a week. And what they would do is they would teach you in a square shape, knitting and crochet, a different stitch that you could repeat in a number set of rows to be able to make a said, like 5x5 granny square. That they would have you make with them, and then you would be able to put together this huge Afghan that you've made with them. Obviously, that is much more popular nowadays.
And whatever colors you wanted to do.
But back then, for someone like me, that was like I now know a new stitch.
Yeah.
I can go do this. I can apply this to different things. And so every single week I was being inundated by my craft, by this half-hour show.
Right.
And it was mind-blowing. I would just sit there just being like, oh, this is new, I can do this with different things. I remember the first time I learned how to make large hoops that I could cut up after, like you can make regular rows that would make longer hoops, and you could cut them up and make fringe, because depending on the material, you could use like a fine-tooth comb, or you could use like an animal hairbrush.
Oh yeah.
Now, if it was a full wool,
yeah,
you could pull that out and make fake fur.
Right.
So you could literally make your own material with its own sewable back, solid back,
Isn't that
and
awesome?
make fake fur for projects. And I was just blown away. I remember making the first bubble pattern where you make a whole bunch of double crochets without finishing them, continuously putting them into the same loop, and then you would crochet them all into one, and that would force this bubble effect forward, even though you've not changed the number of stitches in the row. And just being like I don't know why, but these things were mind-blowing to me at the time. Just absolutely mind-blowing. So when I learned the stitch, when I saw it applied in different ways on the classroom show and tells that they would have, in the little sample pieces that they would have on there, I would look at it and I'd be like, I can do that. Because I've learned, and I've had someone sit down with me every single week on this stupid show that I can't even remember the name, but I loved that show so much. And Create is such an underrated show.
I wish it was still on.
I know that the people still do their stuff independently.
Yeah.
Those people still are out there. Like that guy that used to do the gardening and the landscaping.
Yeah.
That guy still is very famous for doing that and has his own show. Like he actually has his own garden, eating from the garden and stuff like that too.
Yeah. P. Allen.
Yeah. There was a lady even on there that used to do stained glass, that you could cut glass and be able to weld it together and make stained glass pieces. That show had so, anything you thought of, they had it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why with me, when I share my love of yarn crafting, and I'm just like, you don't have to like yarn to enjoy this show, because it's like the energy is still the same. Just if you have a passion towards something, it's going to bleed into how your productivity and how you're able to effectively give yourself an anchor for your life that can actually be able to be something that you can do as a living if you wanted to. I just love that so much, and I haven't even started on my craft. Well, I will get it done, I promise. I will have some sort of show and tell for you guys. But I don't know. I guess our Bible verse really we just picked this verse, and we didn't actually know that this was going to actually work. We just thought it spoke to us today. Oh my goodness. Today is the 1st of December, and so it's 12121. 12/1/21. Well, anyway, just saw that. You won't even be able to enjoy it with me because you're going to see this 2 days later, but whatever.
We're enjoying it while it's here.
The verse is Mark 9:23 and the New Living Translation. Anything is possible if a person believes.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. If you believe it, it's possible. Even if it's not something that's feasible, it can be possible. Granted, I am speaking in hypothetics, but to the main point of crafting. If you have something that you're good at and you would like to create, there is a good ability for you to be able to do it with any material that you have. It's just based off of the functionality of the material. You know, you think about some of the greatest artists of all time, like Michelangelo, and just being like, David was just in the rock. I just had to get him out.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, how is it that it looks like there's a veil on this angel when it's just nothing but stone?
Right.
And these artists are just like, they were just in there. We just got them out.
Yeah.
It's all, you know, and you're just sitting there being like, I look at yarn and I'm just like, you have more potential than just being this little thread.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yarn was meant to be something else. So.
And so there's just that whole, you know, stone was meant to be something else. Wood was meant to be something else. Paper was meant to be something else. Clay was meant to be something else. Metal was meant to be something else. Glass, welding was meant to be something else. You know, weaving. If you like to experiment with plants, if you like to, you know, read books, mend things, repurpose things like material, different furniture and houses, and anything is possible if you believe it. Anything is possible if a person just believes it. If a person has a vision, it can happen.
Right.
I just suggest you don't kill anybody. I just suggest that, okay?
Anything is possible if a person believes. So if you believe you can, then you can. And it's all in your own ability and how much you believe even that God can help you in this situation. Yeah. If you think it's impossible, then you're never going to get it done.
You're never going to be in the right mindset to do it.
You need to have the belief system in you, instilled in you, that you can do what you are setting out to do.
My old pastor used to have a saying. He used to be a boxer, and then his boys ended up going into boxing, and he said, no person that has ever been in any said sport, one, believing that they would go in failing.
Right.
You have to actually be able to believe that you're capable of doing it if you're actually going to be able to do it.
And you need to practice it the right way every time, so that when you get on the field, you do everything that you've done in practice. It's going to come second nature if you're doing it right the first time. Even in band, they were taught to play it the right way the first time, so that they when they got out in front of a crowd, it would be played the right way.
To be fair, granted, I started my my tutorials when it came to playing an instrument with the same person that's actually this blanket's going to, by the way. So, Jane.
Hi,
Jane. And she knew how to get me started, and then when I went into band, they got me in, I started in a public school setting for band with fine arts, and then switched over to the homeschool version of band.
Yeah.
It wasn't until my senior year in high school when a professionist in music came, like a concert musicianist came in and explained that you have to do proper hand exercises and proper breathing exercises if you're going to be able to play well without damaging your body. And I was having problems with my hands by then, like actual problems. And granted, my crochet does have, you know, some things. There are videos if you have issues with doing your craft for long periods of time that you should look up that will help you with hand stretches
and hand massaging.
Hand massaging and hand strengthening.
Yeah.
But when you're not only just suspending yourself to play an instrument and to hold it and to be able to press down hard enough or whatever, you also have an air capacity if it's a woodwind instrument, which was what I was playing. I realized that I trained my body wrong and how to breathe.
Yeah.
and how to do things with my hands. My hands were giving up on me because they were getting so exhausted, and I wasn't being able to hold out on my air capacity because I wasn't breathing properly, and the muscles had been so used to what I had known how to do.
Right.
I don't blame any of my teachers. It was just more of like, if you don't start off right, you're just going to have a hard time getting good at something. If the foundation isn't done right, even if the house is good, it's still going to start falling apart just because the foundation wasn't rock solid. And I don't blame anybody for my playing my instrument. Granted, that was just more of like that makes sense. But there's just a lot of things where it's like, for me, there was a lot of things leading into my ability to be able to knit and crochet. My friend that taught me how to knit, basic knit, had learned from somebody, but because it clicked with me so much quicker because I had already knew how to crochet, when I learned how to crochet, I had made a scarf, I started knitting, I started doing it in smaller needles, bigger needles, experimenting with yarns, experimenting with stitches, experimenting with how to be able to do it, and I made her a hat, my friend a hat, I made her, I just went with it, and she's just sitting over here being like, I don't understand.
Right.
And it's okay. Like, obviously this was something that I'm very grateful that God gave me, and that's not me trying to one-up anybody. It's just I had the right people, and I had the right things lined up for this to be a very healthy outlet, and something that has led to being a very stable thing in my life, something I can look forward to, something that I can be able to give myself over to and still be productive while still being able to rest. It's an honest form of meditation that is very calming.
Yes.
And I'm very grateful to it. But we are getting closer to the end of the video, which now we have to do announcements for this giveaway.
Yes.
So if you want to take over that.
Yeah. So we're asking that you like, subscribe, and comment. And our comment we would prefer is, what is your favorite flower? Now, we have had people already commenting their favorite flowers, and we do have those written down. But today is
the
for
last day.
everybody.
This is the last day you can do it.
Yes.
This period.
Because next week is
the giveaway.
We're going to announce the winner. And so name your flower for our first giveaway. Now, that's what we want in the comments. Now,
we film on Wednesdays. So next week, Wednesday, you have to have your favorite flower in. Otherwise, you will not, by Friday, it's already decided.
Yeah. So on the 8th, the deadline is the 8th. Because when we film, we're not going to be going till, the video will come out on Friday, the 10th. But we will already have filmed on the 8th. Mm-hmm. So please have your flower names in by the 8th. And like and subscribe as well.
Probably should have a time too. What timeline are we in? Eastern, right?
I thought we were in Central. I'm not sure.
I think we're in Eastern. I think we're in Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, maybe we are.
So let's say noon Eastern Standard Time. We will confirm and have it in the comments in case we're wrong, but we're in Michigan, and I do believe that we still fall on the east side of the timeline. Yeah, because as soon as we get close to the lake and it crosses over into Central, when our phones click over to when it clicks into Illinois. Chicago. Yeah. So. We are Eastern Standard Time here, so by noon of Eastern Standard Time of the 8th of December of next week, so 2021, we will be having all the names of anybody that has written their answer, and we will be drawing that out. And the way that we would like to give it away is that when your name is called, we're going to hopefully hear back from you within a week. This person via emailing us.
Yes.
Because we always have our email in the box,
which is ouryarnwhirled, all one word, @gmail.com.
And I'm probably going to try to contact you guys personally through YouTube just to make sure that I'm getting the right person via the email so that we're not having any sort of issues, just to double confirm. And so, again, for anyone who's new, the reason for it being what is your favorite flower is because the blanket that we are giving away in the pillow set is blanket and pillow set. She made the blanket, I made the pillow.
Yeah.
The blanket is pretty much made up of yarns that are of a wildflower variety yarn. Variegated and color scheme is all wildflower themed. And then I made a wildflower pillow, which is an actual, like, very classic
pillow form.
Flower pillow.
Yeah.
And so of the same colors.
Yes.
For anyone who had been curious, I did not get time to be able to make leaves for it, but it's still there, and that's something we will be showing off to you guys. If you want to see it, it's a couple of videos back. You'll see it in like one of the caption shot. You'll see a flower.
Our first giveaway is, I think it was episode 35.
That if
So
you
if
want
you
to
wanna
go
look
back
back.
and see it, we just don't have it on us to be able to show you, but next week obviously we will. Well, we're very excited about today. We're very excited to see your comments and see what your favorite flowers are.
And we're so excited for all the new subscribers that we're getting daily nowadays. So.
And we hope that you continue joining us on this journey.
And I want to give a great big thank you to Inherited Stitches for shouting us out.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
We have been hearing a lot from you, and we have recently started to watch your videos as well. And you know, the camaraderie here, I don't know if that's the right way of putting it, but just the
whatever. However you say that.
Camaraderie here is just really, really enjoyable. I love it. I love just being able to support and love on one another.
Just the community of knitters and stitchers and everybody in between.
And quilters
Yes.
and crafters of any kind.
Yeah.
Just being able to say, hey, we see you, we love you, we're doing it with you. And yeah, thank you.
Yes.
We really enjoy it. We're really excited. And we hope to hear, to have, it's not that we're trying to be on the top of the food chain or something here on YouTube. We're just sharing our love for arts and crafts, and it has been such a stability for me to be able to look back and just the amount of adrenaline it gives me to be able to be like, yes, I want to get this done and be able to show it off. I want to be able to share this with people that I don't even know, but you guys feel like friends.
Yeah.
It's just very grounding for me.
Heartwarming to us.
So again, we're very grateful, we're very thankful, and we are so happy to have you. We ask that you stay safe out there.
Yeah.
For us, the weather is changing. If it's not for you guys, then I just stay safe, because weather can be really obnoxious and really crazy.
And really icy sometimes. So.
Yeah, so... As we're starting our countdown to Christmas, we hope to see all of your ideas and everything that you are hoping to get out there work well for you. We love you guys. Yeah. And again, as always, we hope that you stitch your way
to mental health.